Wow, what a nice night in Liberty City. I sure hope I don't clip through this bridge and fall to my demise. Oh. Okay then. Okay, so I might have been a little dishonest. All of the footage that I just showed you is from the original build of the game. That means that most of these bugs and glitches have or will be patched in the future. Not all of them have been solved, but the majority of the big ones have been. I have 3 goals for this video. 1 is to see how far this game has come since launch. 2 is to see how they stack up against their original counterparts. And my final goal for this video is to see, is this game still worth buying after all the fixes? So let's find out, shall we? Okay, these 3 games have been fixed a lot since launch. Via the latest update back in March, Rockstar has patched hundreds and hundreds of bugs in all 3 games. You can look at the official patch list on the Rockstar website, link in the description. I'll go over some of the big bugs and big visual glitches that have been fixed since launch, but if you want to see the full list, go to the link in the description and you can see the full patch notes. A few of the fixes include, but are not limited to, fog changes in San Andreas, Old Reese is actually old again in San Andreas, spelling mistakes on billboards and text everywhere because of the AI upscaling. I'm pretty sure they fixed Claude in San Andreas, but I honestly don't know for sure. And the biggest one of all, they fixed the rain in all 3 of the games. In case you didn't know, the rain in the original release looked like milk. It was so thick and hard to see through, you couldn't see anything that you were doing, especially at nighttime. Just look at this clip of someone cycling in San Andreas at night. They couldn't see anything with the old rain. At least now they've made it more transparent so you can actually play the game. With all these big fixes and all the little fixes fixed, and with more fixes coming along this summer, while the game might not be perfect, I think it's still playable. So, how does the game stack up to the retail version? It's actually quite a good improvement at the time of recording. I still think some things need to be fixed or changed with the game, and hopefully they'll be addressed in the upcoming updates. As of the latest update back in March, most bugs have been fixed, which now makes the game at least playable and not broken completely. So for part 1 of the video, I think it holds up pretty well. Now on to part 2 of the video. Okay, I'm going to be comparing all 3 games to their original counterparts and see how things are different, how things have been fixed or broken, and the improvements and the not improvements of the new version. First of all, the biggest change I can list right now, and the main reason I would say play the new version over the old version, is the control scheme. All 3 games have a completely revamped control scheme, and it is so much better. It is like GTA 5's control scheme, but not exactly like it, which is a little unfortunate because I would like it to be an exact copy, but it's close enough where it's a much better improvement over the original. If you go back and play the originals, it's really clunky and hard to control sometimes, and you don't even have trigger driving or anything, and you can't move your camera around your character, so it's a really neat improvement over the originals. Also, obviously, the graphics have been improved for the most part. They do look very cartoonish and weird and wonky, especially since everything has been AI upscaled, except for the main characters, which have been made into new models. Now, personally, in my opinion, I do not mind the cartoony look to the new version, as I've always seen them as a cartoony kind of game. So honestly, I think the new graphics are pretty decent, except for all the weird, faulty character models. The lighting is so good in the new version, like, it's just awesome. But I think the only faults in the new version, graphically, are the character models and their animations. Because character models, even though they look cartoony, which is fine, some of them just look like Play-Doh and don't look like actual people sometimes, and the animations are stiff and old, just like the original. They're exactly the same as the original, and I wish they would have gone for a more modern look at the animations like GTA 4 or GTA 5. Another thing the game failed to change was the audio, which is a little unfortunate. With the remaster, they updated the graphics, but did not update the audio for some reason. Now, something that makes the old games really dated besides the graphics is the audio and the sound clips for anything, and the same goes for the new version. Just take a listen to the car motor sounds and you'll see just how dated they are. So I think that's something that could have been improved on the remaster, but at the same time, comparing it to the original, it's exactly the same, so it's not like the original has it better than the new version. On the plus side though, they did add a weapon wheel and a radio wheel, which makes it way more fluid to cycle between your weapons and your radio stations. So I think the differences between the remasters and the original games actually kind of balance out, whether it's good, bad, or just stayed completely the same the whole time. Now, once again, like the previous part of the video, I could just go into detail forever and ever about the comparisons between the two, but I'm just trying to hit the big parts and the main things that you would notice. There's obviously a ton of minor changes that have been made that I'm not really going to bring up because it would literally take forever. So comparing the remaster to the original, I'll give it like a 6, maybe 7 out of 10, especially now. At launch, I'd give it like a 4, but with everything that's been fixed, I would give it a much higher rating because it's not great, it's not even close to being perfect, but I think it works for what it needs to be. If I'm being completely honest, if you played the originals, you're going to prefer the originals. It's what you grew up on, it's what you've played for years, it's what you know and love, and with the remasters, it loses some of that touch and love and creativity that came with the original, and you'll definitely see it missing in the new versions. But to new players, I don't think they'll mind it too much because they don't know what they were missing out on the original, and them going back and playing the original might not be worth it for them, and they might just prefer the ease of access and the ease of playing the new version. So, should you buy the game? In my personal opinion, I think the game honestly might be worth it for newcomers to these games. If you're an original player and love the original games, you can buy these games to see what they're like, but honestly, I think you're going to be better off playing the originals because you love them so much, you're probably not going to like the changes they made to the new. However, word of caution, if you do plan on buying this game, whether you're an old player, new player, whatever, do not pay full price for it. The game has gone on sale multiple times, and honestly, just do not pay the $60 price tag for it. It is not worth it at all. Do not buy it. Now, I'm not sure what it goes on sale for, but honestly, in my opinion, I wouldn't pay more than like $30 for it. So if it's over $30, I mean, you can still buy it, but honestly, I would wait for it to go under there. And if it never goes under $30, maybe stick to the originals or shell out a few extra bucks to get it. But do not pay $60 for it. If you're a fan of the new games like GTA 4 or GTA 5, then I would recommend this trilogy to you, as the controls are very similar, but just know some features are a bit dated, like the textures and sound quality. If you've never played GTA before, this might be a good place for you to start, but just know it's not the definitive version of what the series is or can be. You may enjoy these 3 games if you've never played any of them before, or you may not, but just know that 4 and 5 definitely have way better almost everything. It's just the story that you're coming here for. But if you want the true classic feel, you can always just play the originals, which is fine by almost everyone. And they're really cheap too, and you can find them everywhere. So I'm not going to sit here and say, I prefer this version or I prefer that version. They both have good things leaning on them and both have bad things, and they share a lot of problems and they share a lot of good things. And honestly, the decision is up to you at the end of the day. I can say I recommend the new versions to new players, and to old players, you may not like it, so honestly I would stick to the originals, but if you really want to see what it's like, then go for it. I'm not going to stop you, and I'm not going to say it's a bad decision for you either. It's just my opinion. So there you go, you don't really get a definitive answer of should you buy it or should you not buy it, but I'm just going to leave it up to you. Anyways, that's about all I have to add to this video. An 8-month update, and the game's doing pretty fine. Nothing great, but we will get some more updates hopefully, so we should be good for the future, I hope. Rockstar just announced they're ditching Red Dead 2 Online and all other projects like remasters of GTA 4 and Red Dead 1 to focus on GTA 6, which means GTA 6 confirmed, and it might be coming sooner than later, so that's pretty cool. I'll probably make a video on that when it's revealed because of how big of a deal it is, but besides that, I really have nothing left to add to this video, as I stated before. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.